Evidence has shown an increased risk of death from heart attacks and stroke in both men and women while watching football matches. A landmark study published in 2008 showed that people who watched a highly stressful football match during the 2006 World Cup were twice as likely to suffer a major emergency, like a stroke or cardiac arrest. Also, during the 1998 World Cup, there was a 25% increase in heart attack admissions in hospitals on the day England lost to Argentina 4-3 in a brutal penalty shootout. It is important that I state that most of those casualties were men. When you watch a high-stake match like Argentina versus France final during the 2022 World Cup, and your heart is racing, you're sweating at the edge of your seat, your body floods your system with fight-or-flight hormones called adrenaline, your blood pressure surges, and your heart oxygen demand increases. To cope with that internal chemical storm, spectators reach for coping mechanisms like lighting a cigarette, vaping, binge drinking, or shouting in anger, fighting supporters of rival teams. Instead of relieving your stress from the game, it severely compounds the physical crisis. The rare combination of intense emotional stress, adrenaline rush, heavy smoking, and alcohol causes a massive spike in your heart's oxygen demand, which, if unmet, causes a health crisis. Football is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Europe's top 5 leagues alone are worth over 21 billion euros right now. Several top clubs in the world are pocketing billions in revenue at the end of the 2025-2026 season. Think about the industries thriving off this game: TV and media, hospitality, transportation, sports betting, luxury travel and aviation, sportswear manufacturing industries, and many more industries that we know of. Football transforms lives. It takes raw talents born into absolute poverty and instantly leads their entire families and future generations into wealth. It builds massive modern infrastructure, creates hundreds of thousands of jobs, and shifts the entire economic trajectory of developing nations overnight. Football gives us moments of pure ecstasy, unforgettable history, and an unshakable bond of global brotherhood. Despite all of this, do you know that it is a medically documented fact that football records one of the highest numbers of severe medical emergencies and long-term morbidities than any other sport in the world? I understand it's a game that we enjoy, but this is not just a game. It is a global health hazard that strikes 3 distinct groups simultaneously during high-pressure moments. The first group are the players. You probably recall names like Christian Eriksen, who suffered a terrifying cardiac arrest. Remember Fabrice Muamba, the Bolton midfielder, whose heart literally stopped for 78 minutes during an FA Cup match in 2012. We remember Tom Lockyer, Edouard de Bove, and Marc-Vivien Foé. A 5-year study that was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked over 617 cases of sudden cardiac arrest and sudden deaths exactly like this among footballers globally. You would not be surprised that a staggering 96% of those affected were men, and only 23% survived the collapse. But you see, the danger does not stay on the field. It moves directly into the stadium stands, hitting thousands and millions of spectators packed into concrete rows. The dangerous mix of extreme emotional stress, poor general fitness, alcohol consumption, heavy tobacco use transforms a football arena into a cardiovascular pressure cooker. Why are these numbers so critical right now? Because this summer, the world will gather across Canada, Mexico, and United States of America as 48 teams compete for the ultimate prize, the World Cup. This tournament will run for 38 intense days. As the footballers compete, running and kicking, their blood pressure and heart rates would climb dramatically. Yet, they will remain calculated and physically calm under immense pressure. They have trained for years, passed rigorous medical screenings, and mastered precise psychological coping mechanisms for high-stress moments. Meanwhile, in the stadium stands and on couches in homes, millions of completely stationary men will experience the exact same physiological intensity. But you will be experiencing it without moving a single muscle, probably without even leaving your chair. So for the next 38 days. You are not just going to be watching a beautiful tournament of football. It is also a major hazard to men's cardiovascular health globally. In fact, a historic stadium audit published in the European Art Journal issued a stern warning that if proper emergency medical infrastructures and defibrillators are not actively stationed on site, a standard 50,000-seat football stadium carries a risk of one sudden cardiac arrest every 5 to 10 matches. Think about that. That means that in a single English Premier League season of 380 matches, 38 to 76 fans in the stands will potentially experience sudden cardiac arrest. Now imagine what those numbers would look like across Europe's top 5 leagues combined. Now it is important to give you the context behind these numbers. These statistics are so staggering not because kicking a ball or watching a football match is inherently deadly, but because football is the single most popular sport on earth. We are talking about roughly 130,000 registered active professional players across 135 countries, over 200 million unprofessional or unregistered players, and billions of passionate fans globally. The unmatched engagement and passion for this game creates a massive global sample size. So, more human hearts are exposed to the acute stress of football than any other sport in existence. The World Cup is a celebration of human physical capability, but watching it should never cost you your life, and it shouldn't compromise your health as a man. As you lock into these matches and support your favorite teams, I am urging you to cut down on the risky behaviors. Limit the continuous smoking, the constant vaping, the unhealthy eating habits, high-stake betting, and excessive alcohol intake. Eat clean, stay hydrated, and make sure you get good sleep between matches, especially the night before your team plays. I understand your patriotism, and your passion is an important ingredient for the sport. But those who enjoy football the most are the ones who stay alive to celebrate the trophy. So in everything you do during this tournament, please stay alive. Enjoy this World Cup with a healthy mind and a protected heart. If a 90-minute match requires you to smoke half a pack of cigarettes, vape non-stop, or binge drink just to handle your anxiety, then the game isn't entertainment anymore. It has become a dangerous cue for habits that are actively detrimental to your survival. At the end of the day, it is just a game, but your cardiovascular health is real life. I want you to drop a comment below right now and share exactly what you would do differently to protect your heart during this World Cup.